of the music industry. Thompson twins, definitive of the 80s and into the 90s. He's gone solo, but he's coming back on the road as the Thompson twins. He is Tom Bailey. Hello, Tom. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm very well indeed. Thank you.
Good.
My first question for you today is, are you feeling brave?
Am I feeling brave? Well, it's interesting because that was a very early track by the Thompson twins, which has just been re-recorded and re-released by one of the original members, Pete Dodd. So, and very, very oddly too, the woman who appears on the cover of that single back in 19 whatever it was, I bumped into in New Zealand. She's become a famous film costume designer. I should have guessed that one back in the day, but yeah, for some reason this track has come back to haunt us on three fronts.
That's amazing. That is phenomenal. I guess that's the thing with the industry, is you just don't know what's going to click in and when, and what's going to have new life.
Yes, well, I mean, there's a certain. I mean, people talk about the bad side of, relying too much on or wallowing in nostalgia, but it's nice that we sometimes halt and think back what we were doing 40 years ago or more.
Have a life of its own now.
Well, the self-absorbed answer to that question is they all didn't get enough attention. But some of them actually, no, that's not true. Some of them got more attention than I could have dreamed, but yeah, there must be a few that for some reason you think it's going to be a great success and it doesn't quite hit the mark, or bad timing, or the video sent the wrong message, or those kind of things. But I don't think it's too rewarding to look back with regret. I think we should be more happy with the things that did do well.
Makes a lot of sense. Now then, I'm sure there were lots of big nights out back in the day. Do you remember the craziest night out you had, whether it's an industry one or just a personal one back in the heyday?
Well, something's happened recently which kind of freaks me out. When I was 16, I begged my parents, can I stay out all night to go to a concert that's going to go on, until dawn?
Yeah.
And they said no. And I said, oh, please, I'm going with two friends. And one of them is the son of the reporter on the local newspaper. And he's sending a junior to cover the concert. So there'll be a responsible adult there looking after it. A total lie, But anyway, my parents reluctantly agreed. And I went to this concert. It was the original version of Fleetwood Mac with Peter Green. It was a blues band in those days.
Yeah.
And a lot of other great bands of the time. I was amazed when I looked at the places we're going to be playing on this upcoming tour to see that we're going to be playing in the very room that I stayed out all night for the first time in my life when I was 16. And the two guys who went with me are coming to the concert.
No.
So
that's crazy.
So almost 50 years later, we're going to be reliving that night out.
Are you going to turn it into an all-nighter again? Are you going to make sure that concert goes on until the early hours?
Early to bed, because we'll have a gig the next day, I think. But I can't believe that. It's funny how things turn around, isn't it?
Yes, that's it. That's crazy. And sort of looking back, what was your most ridiculous purchase? Is there something you kind of thought, I was able to do this, so I just bought it, but I actually really just didn't need that?
What springs to mind is that I had to go and meet my manager in New York and missed the flight. Didn't get to the airport in time. He got on the flight. We were having a meeting with the record company in New York. So I thought, I've really made a big mistake here, missing this flight. How can I do this? So we said, is the Concorde flying to New York in the next couple of hours? And they said, yeah. So I slapped a credit card on cost an absolute fortune. And in the end, the meeting wasn't that important, but I guess we got to fly on the Concorde and I can talk about it.
That's it. That's the most expensive meeting ever, but it was worth it because it was on the Concorde. And just lastly, before we take a break for some music, I would just love to know what have you realised is the biggest misconception people have about you?
Oh, well, that's a question for them, not me. But I mean, I'm aware that some people think that the Thompson twins were undervalued, and I think that that's fine. I think some people think that we were too silly or something, but I think actually the reason for that is that we don't follow and never have followed really that that idea that a band has got to be 4 white guys playing guitars. And we've always had this weird thing where we use weird instruments like percussion and experimental instruments too. And also that we were male, female, black, white. We didn't follow the normal kind of formula for what a pop group should look like. And it's funny, there are still bands that slavishly follow that. It's a kind of lads thing all the time, But for example, on this tour, my band is all female, and it's interesting. Sometimes the audience find that alone an interesting thing, that there's a great pool of female talent, amazing female talent, these days. That back in the day, it was difficult to find, but now there are such great female musicians.
Amazing. Well, we're going to take a little bit of a break for some music. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about the tour that you've just mentioned. We're still here with Tom Bailey of the Thompson Twins. There is a tour in September. You're teaming up with Blancmange. Now, how did that tour come about? What brought you two together to kind of go out on the road?
Oh, well, I kind of reconnected with Neil Arthur from Blancmange a couple of years back. I was a big fan of the Blancmange onto this tour, if he wants to do it. And sure enough, here we are.
It's been a good few years since you started doing the Thompson Twin stuff solo as a tour, and taking that material out. What made you decide that actually it was time and that you were ready to move away from what you'd been doing solo, either under an alias or under your own name, to then actually going back and celebrating the songs that had sort of put you on the map in the first place?
Well, it's true. I took a 27-year break from touring mainstream pop music. I carried on working a little bit in the studio, but then my musical interest drifted off into more obscure and underground areas. And I was very happy to do that. It was a necessary thing for me. But I honestly thought I'd never get back into mainstream pop again until one day a Mexican artist contacted me and said he was making an album where he wanted to work with all his childhood heroes, and I was one of them. I wanted to do a track with him. And I thought, well, no one's going to know. I'll just do it, and see what happens. I enjoyed it so much that I thought, you know what, I'm fooling myself that should be a closed door to me. And so I wanted to open that door and get back into. It gave me so much satisfaction and joy, actually, to be working in. There's something special about pop music, where you're not trying to be cool, you're not trying to impress anyone. It's just you're making music that is well made for people to have a good time. Yeah. And I think there's something kind of especially noble about that, and therefore it's worth doing. And I got back into it. A couple of other people like Howard Jones helped me cross the line by, saying, let's go on tour in America. So yeah, that was about 12 years ago now. I got back into it, and I haven't really stopped since. In
terms of the tour that's coming up, I guess you're well aware of what songs the fans really want to hear and which ones are the most popular, but your back catalogue itself is huge. Do you ever sort of, when approaching a tour, go, do you know what, just for me, I'm going to pop this one back in and see how it goes down?
Yes, Yeah, I'm doing a lot of that on this tour because it's my tour, so I can extend the set length a little bit. I mean, festivals are great fun, but they're terrible because they say you've got 45 minutes, not a second longer, and then you know that you just have to play your hits because people will be disappointed if you don't. But when it's my tour, I set the time limits and things, so I'll be playing for a lot longer, and including some things that people have never heard.
Yeah. It's been a few years since you put an album out. Are there plans for another record? Are you going to put a full record out again at some stage, or is that not really on the cards right now?
Well, it's a funny thing because I really, really enjoy making music. I do it most days of my life. I'm writing, recording, arranging, what have you. But putting out a record and promoting it is hard work, and it takes a lot of time away from that creative pursuit. So I tend to be less enthusiastic about actually releasing stuff. Meanwhile, my record company from back in the day has suddenly realized that they've got these great records they could re-release, so BMG have been re-releasing Into the Gap and Quick Step and Sidekick, and they want to talk about releasing Future Days, and so it's silly me competing with that, and I should let them have the space to do that. And when they've run out of steam or interest, I shall start releasing again, no doubt.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, the tour is coming up. People can book their tickets right now. Would you please just introduce your choice, one of your classics for everybody to hear right now?
Oh my gosh, you put me on the spot. Let's go with Doctor Doctor, a song that I love playing. I have all sorts of ideas about what it could be about, and I guess it's in the tradition of love as a kind of sickness or an illness that you have to go to the doctor and say, please help me, I'm completely consumed by this emotion, and it's a physical effect on me, so there's that. But there are all sorts of hidden agendas in that song that every time I sing it, I think, what is this really trying to say, and so it's a mystery song that endures, and people like it, they sing along with it.
Just standing there, and I thought I was only dreaming, yeah. I kissed you then once again. You said you would come and dance with me. Oh, doctor, doctor, is this love I'm feeling? me.